Hey guys, credit card is a gamble against you. The banks are actually gambling against you. They're gambling that you fail. They're gambling that you're going to default at some point, and most of us do. Let's talk about credit cards. It's a double-edged sword in the sense that at some point you're going to fail, and you can use it for positive, you can use it for negatives. But we all know what swords are for. They're for killing. It's a huge risk. Okay, so I want to talk about credit cards. They don't talk about the risk associated with it. I want to talk about, what misconceptions people have out there, and the fact of, how they listen to people who they think are famous. Actually, most people are famous, but then we're not in the same class as they are. Okay. We talked about, Frank Abigail there. There's quite a few celebrities as well who come out and say, credit cards are the bank's money. No, it's not, definitely not the bank's money. It's your future, right? You're risking your future for every possible point. And the banks are so confident that you're going to feel that they give you rewards. Yeah. And then, again, the other point, people come ahead and try and say, let's talk about that. I'll get into that now, right? So credit cards, we'll talk about the positives and negatives. Okay. So who am I? I'm the CEO of Aruka. Aruka is a smart payment ring. We allow users tap to pay with their rings. Okay, so this is more on if you ask me, it'll be more on the debt. We're not credit, so we do debits. Okay, so that means you own the money, it's your money, you top it up on the card or you connect it to your existing debit cards. You can connect to your credit cards as well, but the ring itself is debit in the sense that it's money, it's your money, you hold on to it. We don't give credit. So that means when you top up or you link it to your card or your bank account, you automatically spend what's on your ring. Again, we work with about 450 banks at the moment across the world. So yeah, order one now. Okay. And with this, you don't need your phone, you don't need your wallet, you don't need those bulky credit or debit cards anymore when you just have one ring that connects to everything. Okay. We are launching actually a collaboration with Binance. So that'll be cool as well. If you're a Binance customer, you can connect your Binance app to this and then you automatically pay wherever you want. That's crazy. That's cool. So Binance customers, about 250 million of you. We look forward to welcoming you. Okay. So let's talk about credit cards. Okay. And this is interesting because it's an important one for me. Guys, please be careful when people out there talk. Okay. So again, I'm not a celebrity. I don't make money from real estate. Think about things like that. A lot of these guys are claimed to be finance gurus, right? Are mostly real estate guys. That means anybody can go ahead and just sell a house, buy a couple of houses, become a real estate, and then they're giving you financial advice. Please be careful about that. There's a clip of Frank Abagnale as well going around. Frank was a criminal. Everyone knows he was a criminal. He's the protagonist, or let's call it the main actor on Catch Me If You Can, where he actually defrauded banks. So if someone like that comes to you and tells you that, hey, when you spend your credit card, it's the bank's money, then you should be doubly worried, and definitely don't listen to advice like that. These days, you can search people. So if anyone comes online and gives you advice, if you look at them and they're just an accountant, that means they're an accountant. They don't know anything about financial products. But if someone's coming to you and is a banker, then, I've got 20, 30 years experience in banking. Same thing as well with any other person there who's a banker. They'll tell you straight away how risky subprime mortgage is, how risky credit cards are. Yeah, especially to the average man. Yeah, and that's something to be careful and watch out for. And that's all. If you get nothing from this video, just get that. In fact, if you learn that, if you get that, you can stop this video now and go do something else. Go watch whatever you want to watch on YouTube. However, on the other hand, if you can't, if you need reasons, let's talk about that. Okay. So here's the first thing on what's good about credit card. So what's good about credit card is, one, it helps you, build a credit history. Okay. So the idea with credit cards and with any other debt is, right, if you're owing money, and that's why you need to understand what credit cards are. They're debts, they're loan. If you're paying back your loan regularly, then the people see you as good. Okay, then they borrow you more. That's the same thing with the credit card. So if you've got a small credit card limit and then you pay back regularly, then what that means then is they see you as good. They see you as someone they can borrow money to, and then that's you building your credit rating. But that's a huge if. Okay, you pay regularly, you pay your amount, you don't breach your credit limit, you don't carry over credit, but you use the functionality there and then you get your money back. So that's where the advantage stops. But that's a big if, right? And I know I'm saying that as well. And I'll talk about that later in this video. Then we talk about, rewards, and that's cool. So again, Your credit card, so when you make a payment, we talk about this a lot on this channel. When you make a payment, there's what's called interchange fees. Interchange fees are basically what the companies pay the merchants. So the merchants pay the companies that come with the card, because instead of cash is a pain to handle, it's a pain to manage. But what you can do is you can pay with card. And when you pay with the card, it's a convenience to the merchant. The merchant ends up paying 3% on your behalf. That 3% is what the bank splits for you, and that's what they call rewards. So it's not really a reward other than, hey, here's some kickback for using our credit card. And then people are happy thinking that they're getting a reward. You're not really getting a reward. It's a double-edged sword, where because you spent that very, very slippery debt, right? Because you use that, guess what? Here's 1% or here's 0.5%, and people are happy to use that. So that's something to watch out for as well. So the reward is good. You can get rewards. You can get free hotels. You can get discounts on stops on holidays. But also note as well that debit cards do that these days. Our rings do that as well. So we have, premier events and meetups that we do on the ring for ring holders and subscribers. A lot of debit cards do that today. Banks do that today, but credit cards used to be the first to do that. Yeah, and then they charge you for it as well. So you get a reward, but guess what? The reward comes with something behind it. But that's the other two reasons, the second reason why you'll ever use a credit card. One, to build a credit history, which obviously means you must build a credit history, not for anything else. Or secondly, to get rewards as well. But here's my concern. That's only a portion of it. So now the question becomes, okay, how many people are using this and how do you avoid this? Okay, so let's talk about that. So, and I've got some numbers here, right? And I'm not making this up. So in terms of the amount of people in the UK and Europe, okay, the average interest rate, okay, so these are APRs. So when you borrow money from a bank, you pay 9%. 10%, depending on your credit history. But in truth, if you pay 10,000, you borrow 10,000, you pay 9%, okay? If you borrow against your house, if you borrow against your homeowner's line of equity, if you borrow against something that is secure, okay? If it's secure, then you get it cheaper for about 2-3%. You get up to 4% interest, okay? Because you're seeing that if something goes wrong, they're going to take that property, that security that you've provided for your loan. Unsecured loan, you get about 9-10%, depending on how your credit history is. Credit cards are 26%. Think about that for a minute. So that's double what you pay for getting a loan. In fact, if you wanted to get a loan from a bank for 10,000, go get a loan from a bank for 10,000 rather than getting a credit card for 10% for 10,000, because you pay 26%. So you're paying over double of what you pay on your credit card than a loan. So this is just financial products. Again, most people who say these things, they just say without realizing it. If you work in a bank, you want to sell credit cards as much as possible. In fact, maybe some of these guys get kickbacks from the banks on this as well. That's true. So it's possible. And if that's the case, then so be it. But they need to be honest and say that, right? So in my opinion, I think, one, it's risky. Don't get a credit card because of the high interest rates, right? So it's an APR for it. The APR is the annualized rate. So while it looks small per month, over the course of a year, you end up paying 26%, and that adds up a lot. Okay, so watch out for that, please. The interest rate is really, really high across Europe. Again, Europe, USA, Australia, Canada, Asia, mostly is about 26%. Africa, it goes up even further, up to 30%. Okay, so that's something to watch out for, guys. Across the board, please be careful about credit cards for that. Next one I want to talk about again is the carryover, right? So this, believe it or not, across again most countries, right? But let's talk about US, Europe, right? It's about $7,300 is what people carry over. So while these millionaires, of course, some are even billionaires at this stage, right? They come out, they give you an advice and go, I use my credit card, and you can see clips of that right here. They come out and they say, hey, I use my credit cards and I pay back monthly. Okay, that's fair enough. You're right. If you get a credit card and you pay back monthly diligently every month, then that's okay, right? Then you should use a credit card, okay? Because that means, one, you're getting the rewards which they give you, and then you're paying it back every month, which is okay. Frank Abagnale, most of these celebrities, they all, YouTubers, when they come ahead, if you look at their subscriber count, they've got, 200, 300,000, sometimes up to 1, 2, 3 million subscribers. So those guys are already millionaires. That's why if they get a credit card for 100,000, if they get a Chase Bank Infinity, limitless card, they pay back every month. They can afford to pay back every month because they have the money to pay back every month. But the 1 million subscribers don't have the money to pay back every month. On average, the average debt outstanding per credit card per person is $7,500. That's $7,500 we are owing on our credit cards. These are the average people. So this is the average man on the street. Not again, there's always going to be 5% of people listening to this that go, oh, well, I pay back my credit card every month. Yeah, you're in the minority. Most people that have taken those credit cards based on the advice that these celebrities are giving and gurus are giving are in debt by up to 7,500 on average. It's higher. Most people are. It's so high that I remember this as well. I mean, yeah, I not remember this. I was in banking just a few months ago. In banking, there's a whole line that specifically talks about credit card debt. You talk about loan, you talk about mortgage, you talk about credit card debt. So it's given that you must owe on credit cards. That's crazy. And no one's talking about that. So when these people give advice, they give advice based on their perspective, but these guys are the minority. So when someone goes ahead and says, hey, I've got, 10 credit cards and I use it for rewards and then I pay back every month. But the average person, about 95% of us owe up to 7,500 outstanding. And remember what I said, that's 26% loan. So that means these people are owing 7,500 minimum. So on average, 7,500, and they owe 26% on that. So they're taking out a loan of 26% against the bank. I mean, that's why the credit card division of banks, there's a whole division of banks because they want to sell that. That's why I said this video is about banks taking a bet on you. The bank is taking a bet on you in that instance. They've taken a bet and on average, they win against you. On average, they win because about 90% of us are going to fall and carry over the balance. And if you carry over the balance, it becomes a loan. And the loan, then you end up paying 26% on average, compared to just going ahead and taking a 10,000 loan from the bank and getting 10,000 or 10% loan equity on it, or 10% charge. So the point I'm trying to make there is, again, I'm going to say this over and over again. Please don't listen to celebrities and gurus who claim that you can take a credit card and you can pay back every month. It's a slippery slope. They're hoping you do that. Maybe they get a discount from the bank. Maybe they get a discount from the airlines for the rewards. But in truth, we suffer. 99% of us suffer because on average, we're going to owe money on it, right? That's something to watch out for. Then we talk of the debt, right? So next thing that comes in is delinquency, right? So delinquency is basically where you don't pay your debt for over 90 days. And if that happens, then guess what? Then the whole topic about credit building is gone. In fact, just carrying over the debit or the outstanding balance in your credit card means that your credit history is hit. Your credit score is hit badly. So that means the whole idea of why most people go ahead and take the credit card is a problem because they lose the money as a result. They lose the credit history as a result. Yeah. So please, guys, be careful with that. I'm going to say it over and over again. I'm going to repeat it over and over again. When celebrities and rich bankers and rich, mentors or inspirational speakers go ahead and say, hey, use a credit card to build your history, or I'm smart, I don't use the bank's money. Yes, the bank they're betting against you because they hope you fail. Yeah. So the next one I'll talk about again is the amount of defaults. So across the US, there's 1 trillion amount of defaults on credit cards. That's in the US alone. In Europe, it's 500 billion across Europe and the UK of people owing on credit cards. So there you go. The next time you go across YouTube and you see someone telling you to use your credit card because of the rewards, go back on the comments and ask them, hey, according to Oruka CEO, you can quote me, according to Oruka CEO, 90% of us don't get the rewards and end up defaulting on the credit card. Have you defaulted on the credit card? Ask them that. If they say yes, then they shouldn't be advising you. If they say no, then they are the 1% that are rich enough not to owe on a credit card. Then they shouldn't be telling you or giving you advice to go against that. Okay? So please, guys, I'm going to end on that. If anybody comes to you and tells you, hey, because it's the bank's money, please don't fall for it. It is not the bank's money. It's your money. It's your future. What's the alternative there? Go get a debit card. Okay? Go get a debit card. And people argue and say, the credit card gives you security in case, in case you get duped online. Debit cards do that these days. If you have a debit card, there's what's called a chargeback immediately on your debit card. If someone doesn't give you the service that's provided, you can do a chargeback immediately. Across the banking sector, we have a 30-day turnaround. The card will immediately will refund your money. If you actually do a bank transfer as well, same thing, you can ask for a callback, a chargeback immediately. The funds will be recalled. It might take a few weeks, but it's the same thing anyway with the credit card. But the credit card comes with a risk. The debit doesn't, because the debit is your money. Credit card, again, you take these guys, be careful with that. Be mindful. Get the debit card instead. You still have the same protection from your credit, only without the risk. It's your money at this stage. Okay? All right, take care, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Cheers.